Now, if you've ever gotten beat, you were probably walked on with a belt, right? Well, that isn't normally the case at my school. You see, no teacher has a time to whip their belts out when your Nyash is scheduled for some loving. Instead, they use some sticks of different types, and boy, oh boy, do they enter. Those are what we call canes, or rather, vams, as I'm naming this story. So this story begins the exact next day I went back to school. March 1st, 2021. My friends and I were all going through the lessons normally in our corner at the back. Now it comes to the time for the math lesson taught by a man I'm going to name as Mr. M. He decides to leave us with our first assignment of the term. Why is it so important, you may ask? Well, this one assignment is what led to our Nyash annihilation. It had about 100 numbers to be done in 2 weeks. Now we thought it was going to be easy, like come on, 2 weeks? Nothing. I can do this in 2 days. I looked at the paper and I freeze. There were numbers I didn't even know could exist. But you know what? I don't panic and I say, it's come. Peace was restored. Until other teachers started giving massive assignments and theirs are needed like the next day or by the evening. It was too much. We were overwhelmed. Fast forward to the deadline. That is Saturday, 13th March, 2021. Not even one person in the whole math class had finished at least 50 numbers, except maybe 2 girls, but you get the point. The most anyone had was at 40 numbers with some gaps here and there. So that Saturday, he told us to hand in the books by midday. Now our day begins as usual. Wake up at 4 a.m, go to class at 5 a.m. for prep, that's reading time by the way, till 6:30 a.m. And the day ends at 10:30 p.m. That's when we're allowed to go back to our dorms. Man, we were all fighting to sleep in that classroom just to finish that work. But we knew it was impossible at that time. Prep ends and we go to our housework, which is peeling cassava for the school lunch. After that, me and 2 of my friends, whose names are George and Patrick, are on our way to class while talking about intellectual stuff. Then we decide to become stupid. Well, stupider than usual, that is even a word. I'm like, what if Mr. M decides to punish us? Then George says, why, he can't do anything. And then I'm like, tap your life busy jinxing us. That's how the man calls the whole maths department and they cane us. Now Patrick, being the most mature, says, you guys better shut up, man. Especially you should. You have pretty much signed our death warrants. Now me being the mature guy just says, nothing. But I would soon come to regret those words. Fast forward to midday, Mr. M starts calling for the books, but the whole class refuses to send. None of us wanted to snake the other, so we just decided to die as a class. He soon realizes that people are scared and don't want to hand in because they haven't finished. So he later says to hand in what we have. I repeat, what we have. Now that was the magic word we're waiting for. People started handing in. Now I immediately take my book to the staff room and find a huge pile of books. Damn, people really handed in, huh? Then I go back to class with a clear conscience. All was peaceful in class. Suddenly, a girl comes in class looking panicked and says, you guys, I've just heard the math teachers are coming to all of our Nyashes. Why, it can't be. You be there, I've told you, whole math department. You're joking, right? Sean, sweetheart, honey, darling. How many times have I lied about such stuff? None. Exactly. Damn. Surprisingly, we don't panic. We had already accepted our fate. Evening prep begins and the first hour soon gets done and we think, hey, we're in the clear. Then out of nowhere, Mr. M comes in and starts a whole speech about how we are unserious and all that. You people don't realize what we're doing for you. 2 weeks for only those numbers. Then another math teacher comes in. Let's call him Mr. K. More pissed off. Okay, if you have at least 50 numbers, stay in class. The rest move outside very quickly. The class doesn't even make any fuss. We all just stand up comfortably and walk out because, like I said, we all gave up. He lines us up outside class and starts a whole speech. You people don't know, you don't know. Kati, when it's time for promotion and you have bad grades, don't come crying to us when you fail because that's entirely your fault. Mr. K walks up to Jordan. I thought he was going to slap him, but all he says is, Mujoga, Wanagwe, Mujoga. Now this means we disrespected them or something like that. He tells us to go straight to the front of the administration and lie down where other classes math students already were. Personally, I begin to fall asleep because I was damn tired by that time. Remember, this is entirely tarmac and it was surprisingly warm, and this isn't the first time I've been made to lie down there. The teachers then called the first class to go to the front of our classroom block. All we hear are screams and sticks, but we didn't know the exact extent of the vamps. Next they call my class, which is the physical class since we all do physics. There we spot the battlefield. About 5 teachers in total are there looking at us with sticks wrapped up in tape to make them harder and stronger. This was a conveyor belt system. 3 math teachers, you already know Mr. M and Mr. K, but with an added Mr. I. Our class teacher and another class teacher of the biology class. Mr. K's stick was already broken, which means this time they weren't holding back. The first guy goes down and damn, they annihilate him. He even grunts a little. The girls, a few of them also let out screams, but the rest was true, pretty strong. So eventually my turn arrives. I go down at my class teacher's feet and receive my share. Oh boy, what those vamps had. And adding on to the conveyor belt system, pretty sure my Nyash was on fire. But something else entirely happened. I started enjoying the pain. I know, that sounds masochistic, and trust me, it is, totally. But I've been so saturated with vamps over my years of schooling since I was 5 years old that I just got used to it. And the end of it all, the teachers came in saying they were disappointed, telling us that we could have done like 7 numbers per day. But in our hearts, we knew that was still impossible since 1 number could literally take a full prep time, which is 2 hours, by the way. And they give us another deadline of 1 week to do 90 numbers. Yeah, you can probably guess how that turned out. In the end, we could all say we were ready for any punishment our teachers could give us. Also, it hurt my Nyash to sit on my bed that night. And it left marks. Perfect.